Are you doing Tai Chi or something, or what's the?
Yeah, we do Qigong and Tai Chi for some internal practices. Also, something you don't know about probably. It's called Meridians. This is where everything comes from. It's written Meihua, and another word Quan, Meridians. This is they call it the mother of all Chinese martial arts. So Qigong and Tai Chi and everything is coming from that. Yes.
All right. So what to you? What's the essence of these martial arts?
Well, there's different ideas. So if you talk about the philosophies behind them, it's a mix of Buddhism, Confucianism, and Taoism. The three philosophies that are the most present in China. And then we talk about the Yin-Yang principle. So the balance, it's the same as in Hatha Yoga, for example. Hatha for solar and moon, as you know. Then here it's Yin and Yang, but it's the same. So from my understanding of everything, yoga and Kung Fu or Chinese martial arts are coming from the same knowledge, from the same beginning, and they just have different paths to go to the same goal, which is, as you know, enlightenment or at least health. So it's two different paths for the same thing, from the same thing and to the same goal. So the Chinese medicine and Ayurveda for me are very similar, but they just use different words. So in Chinese medicine, you talk about meridians. In yogic culture, we talk about nadis, as you know, for the energy channels. In Chinese medicine, they talk about Dantian. So we have 3 Dantian. And yoga talk about chakra. So like the Dantian, the lower Dantian is the 2nd chakra. The middle Dantian is the 4th chakra, and the upper Dantian is the 6th chakra. But it's all the same. So it's just different words. And so the chi, the life energy, which is called prana for yoga, right? It's also the same. So they say the home of the chi, the place where it is stored in the body, is in the lower dantian, so the 2nd chakra. And from here, with your breathing and your intention, you can combine your internal movement, so your chi, with your external movement to make it more powerful or more explosive, or so the intention is different depending on which style of martial art you're doing. So if you do Tai Chi, you want your chi to be, and your movements to be like water, like very fluid movements, continuous movement without stopping for all the form of the chi, the Tai Chi. Then, for example, if you do Shaolin, it's all about explosiveness. If you do boxing, it's all about fast contracting and fast, like coming back, like you do a punch, you're throwing a punch really quick and coming back. And then if you do other style like Mei Hua Chuan, the goal is to have a big opening and big closing. So like you alternate between expanding and retracting your body in different positions. So also, the idea behind the Chinese martial arts is to have a balance between the internal and the external. So to respect the yin and yang principle. So yin will be the internal practices, soft practices like Tai Chi and Qigong. The yang will be the external practices and hard practices like boxing and Shaolin, and I don't know what you can imagine, like running, whatever. And this balance needs to be always achieved. And so if you have excess of yin or excess of yang, you have certain problems. And then also in your organs, you have yin organs and yang organs, and some postures like yoga. In yoga, you know that some postures have an effect on this or that organ. It's the same for the Chinese practices. And so you can affect the meridians depending on the way you are positioned and the way you breathe, so that you can regulate or bring balance to some meridians and organs. Also, the 5 elements of Chinese medicine are different from the yoga. So, you know, maybe you know it's about metal,
Wood,
water,
right?
yeah, metal, water, wood, fire, and earth.
Okay.
Those
So
5 elements that
3 out of the 5
support.
are the same, right?
Sorry?
3 out of 5 are the same.
Yes, yes. And so they support each other. So uh, like the metal is talking about the elements. So like, you know that the magnesium and all these um, salts in the water are metals. So like metals is supporting water. Then water is supporting wood to grow. Then wood is supporting the fire because yes, it's pretty
Makes sense.
obvious. And then fire is supporting earth, earth as for ashes of the
Yes.
fire, for example. And then earth is supporting water again because the earth is supporting metal again. And then it goes again like this. So it's the same for the organs inside. Yeah, and also they talk about the in Taoism. So one part of Chinese philosophy is Taoism. They talk about how to use your life energy to heal yourself and all this. And they say that we have different kind of qi, and one of it is ancestral qi. It's the one with which you are born, and you cannot expand it more than what you've been given when you were born. And this qi is stored in the kidneys.
Mm-hmm.
And this qi goes away every time, for example, if you're a man and you're ejaculating, this qi goes away. So in Taoist practices, they have different practices to retain. It's exactly like for yoga. So the yogi, they don't want to spill their sperm as well. So they have practices as well to keep the sperm, or to have different orgasm. Like, so they don't refrain, or they don't restrain themselves from having sexual encounters, but they do it in a way that they don't ejaculate and stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What can I tell you as well? What do you want to know?
So that
These days?
there's a lot there to get started with.
Yes.
What I would love to do is make the connection between yoga and Chinese practices through
Yes.
science. So we'll start
Yes.
with physical body and kind of work it out from there.
Mhm.
So the main thing that I feel like is connecting it is this internal versus external, this yin and yang,
Mhm.
this moon and sun.
Mhm.
Is there the way I see it in my personal practice is there's a difference between relaxation in the muscles and tension in the muscles, and there's something in between.
Okay.
And we have to be in that in between space if we want to move efficiently or have control over our motions. Can you relate to that feeling of finding that balance?
Well, I'm not sure if I relate to this feeling, but what I can understand is on the martial art point of view, for sure, you have to be able to contract and relax when you're moving. We don't want to maintain unnecessary tension in the muscles. We want to tense only the muscles that are supposed to be tense to achieve the movement we're doing. And then when the movement is done, you want to relax again and move from there. So it's always we always alternate between tension and relaxation. And for example, there's a lot of people who come here and they don't know how to relax their body. So they arrive and then we ask them to do some movement. And then when they lift their arms, what are they doing? They are lifting their shoulders like this, for example, because they don't know how to relax, right? They are not aware that their arm doesn't need the shoulder to elevate to raise their arm up. So from the chi point of view, what is interesting is that if you do fast contraction and fast relaxation, and you do also lines with your movement, if you are aligned, so the notion of alignment is interesting as well, your chi can travel most efficiently. So it's like water or like electricity. So if you have a portion, like a straight portion of network, like water network or electrical wire, if it's straight, there is less loss of tension or loss of pressure in the water. And then when you encounter some component, electrical component, or you have 90-degree angle on the water, whatever, you're losing pressure. It's the same for the chi. So if you have big muscles and you don't align yourself efficiently, then your chi cannot travel through your body. So coming from your lower dantian up to your going until the tip of your finger. Yeah, until the tip of your fingers. It's supposed to function like this, and sometimes it's blocked here at the shoulder or blocked at the hips because the shoulders and the hips are not opened in a mobility point of view. So your chi is blocked in your trunk, and then you cannot be efficient with your movement. So I'm not really answering your question because, well, this feeling of middle point between tension and relaxation also makes me think of isometric way of working. And from my understanding and my experience in mobility and movement, isometric contractions and isometric movements are the most efficient movement you can do to open your body and gain mobility on the short or long term. And we have positions like this in Meridians that you can have a look on my Instagram profile, or you can look at my videos. I will send you some if you want. So we have 5 basic stances in Meridians, and they are static stances, or they can be combined in a form. So it's a combination of movement where there is the basic stances and transitions in between them, like a vinyasa flow, for example, right? So these 5 basic stances are isometric, and they open the shoulders and the hips, and they are hard to maintain if you're not used to them, but it's isometric contraction as well. So it's part of contracting and relaxing. And when we do them, we inhale and try to extend. So if your arms are open, you want to reach even higher in the sky, for example. And then when you exhale, we retract a bit. So it's also an alternance of contraction and like contraction to expand, and then relaxation to retract, kind of.
That breath is an expansion. Is it literally your body going bigger, or is it more of a feeling?
No, it's not a feeling. It's like you can actually expand your body with your intention and your breath. If you do some exercises that we do here with your fingers, and you can actually see that if you have the intention to extend your fingers, you can extend them more than the other hand, for example, if you compare and you do some exercises. So yeah, it's actually, if you align yourself and you project your chi and you have the intention and the breath. For me, the chi is the combination of intention and breath, and
Mhm.
you can make it go where you want by telling it, sorry, where to go and how to go. If you want to be fast, if you want to be relaxed, if you want to be open, if you want to be closed, whatever the intention is, uh, it respects it. So you can actually expand your body a bit more and gain some millimeters in your hands, for example, or so on your whole body, it's like maybe centimeters um, by breathing and having the intention to expand your body, and then you retract.
Hmm. Interesting. Does you? I'm sure you're aware of bandas, right?
We don't do that in the Chinese martial arts, or it's not very well explained if they do it. It's not something that really seems to be at the heart of the practice, not
Okay.
like yoga. So we don't do bandhas here. No.
Hmm. Um, so the breath is very interesting as it connects all these things. So
Yes.
how does, let's say you have your mind part, your breath part, making your intention, how does that then go into your body, or how does that make that interaction?
How do how does the breath and the intention interact? Is that what
Yeah.
you want to?
How does that make that connection there?
Mm. Um, I don't really, I'm not really sure if I can explain this kind of things. It's more like you have to feel it yourself and like practice it to understand it in a certain physical level, and in a mental level, it's a bit uh, harder to explain. Um, Here,
Yeah.
it's not, yeah. Uh, when you see my master here, is Chinese, and he he doesn't speak well English. And okay, also, although we have a translator sometimes, if he wants to explain some principles or things that need to be said, most of the practice doesn't need to be talked about. It needs to be practiced. And actually, it's even better, I think, that he cannot speak with us about many difficult words and principles and mental based things, because we will miss the practice, I think, if it was the case. So he's always showing us. It's by observing him and listening to the way he breathes, and like, I don't know, that we can understand a bit better, and by doing it ourselves. And I'm not very sure. Maybe I'm not specialized enough to answer your question, or maybe I just
It's a hard
can't do
question.
it.
I'm very sorry.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
So just quickly, so what's the name of your master and where are you exactly? How long have you been there? I'm just kind of
Yeah.
curious.
So my master is called so his Buddhist name is so Shifu. Shifu means master and father. So like teacher and father, so the two characters of Chinese Shifu. So it's like Shifu, and then Shi is a title, like for any monk, for every
Mhm.
monk, and then Yanjun, so Yan and Jun. So Yan is the particle for the 34th generation of Shaolin warrior monk. It's coming from a poem that was written by uh, a Shaolin abbot. So like an abbot is the director of of a temple, of a Buddhist temple. So at some time, back in time, 35th generation ago, there was the abbot of the Shaolin temple who wrote a poem. And so the 34th word of his poem is Yan. So now all the 34th generation Shaolin warrior monk are called, have the particle Yan in their name. And then Jun is chosen by the master. So his master, the master of my master, chose the Jun, particle for him. And I don't know what it means in Chinese, so I cannot tell you. So his name is She Yanjun, and we call him Shifu because he's our master. So Shifu, She Yanjun. And I became his disciple last year. So, for example, my name is Shi Heng Yi. No, Yi, sorry. Shi Heng Fa. So, Heng is the 35th generation particle in the poem. And Fa refers to different things. One is Fagua. Fa is French. Fagua is French. So, because I'm French. And Fa also refers to abundance and like, I don't know the words in English. I forget my English sometimes, but it's okay. Like wealth and like all this abundance of happiness, whatever. So it's a blessing for me as well. Yeah, so that's his name. And then where we are a bit everywhere. So actually, sometimes it's a bit difficult in China to bring a lot of foreigners from different countries in the same spot. They are always a bit worried about why we are really here. Are we not having bad intentions, or are we going to be well welcomed here or there? And why so many people from so many different countries and this and that. So since COVID happened, he had some problems to maintain only one location. So last year when I came, I was here. I was in China for 4 months, and we were in Chengdu. But then they made us move because something happened, or like a big international event was supposed to take place in Chengdu. They didn't want us to be there. So then now we are in Xingtai, close to Xingtai, Hebei province. And it seems like maybe people here are more happy than they used to be at other places. So they will support us. There was, so from 1st of May to today, there was 5 days of celebration for the working class people, because here it's a communist country, so it's very important celebration in the year. And we have done some performance. We are in an ancient town here that people are visiting, like a little touristic place. And so we have done some performance, and apparently people are happy about what we are doing here, and it makes sense to them. So we are also in a partnership with the University of Qingtai, and they support us as well. And also the Meridians. So what I said earlier, Meridians is mother of all Chinese martial arts, according to Chinese people. And they have their birthplace not far from here. And they also support us, like the international heritage, Meridian heritage. So they call it International Intangible Chinese Heritage, something like this. Support us as well. So we should be staying here probably. But yeah. And I've been here in this new location for 1 month, and I will stay 1 more month for this time.
So I remember when we were at the yoga teacher training, you were hitting that pole with your forearm, and that was from a Thai martial arts, and then you spent some time doing yoga, and now you're in China. What has that journey been like? Has each piece brought for you in your understanding of the model of all martial arts? Or
so as that's true that I have been going in some places to learn different aspects of movement, and each of the places have added some stuff to my practice and also removed, because you cannot just stack things upon each other and expect that you can practice all day long everything that you've learned. So you have to make choices also, and I think this is an important aspect as well. So I have, yeah, regarding my practice, I have been doing a lot of bodybuilding before I met you, before I went to yoga, before I went to Thailand. And from this practice, I have gained, I think, an understanding of my body and how it works, and I became aware of my muscles and the human anatomy and this and that, and also gave me some discipline and some understanding of the importance of having a daily practice, even if at the time I was not doing it for spiritual reasons or health reasons. I was just doing it for aesthetics, and that was all. Then when I went to Thailand and I learned Muay Thai, it was by default, because actually I already wanted to come here at the time, but COVID happened, so I couldn't go here. I couldn't come in China. They didn't give me my visa, so I went to Thailand. And what I learned there is general striking martial arts, but it's all external. So there is no focus on your chi. There is no focus on your internal organs. It's only external, to the point when you can easily burn yourself out, and you cannot keep up with the rhythm. So the methods they have with training for performance are, I think, they need to be rethought about, and they are adapted for children, that they can, when they are growing up, okay, their body can take all this working capacity. So this notion of working capacity is like, okay, what is the amount of work you can do with your body and still be able to recover from it, and the next day you can go again. So this working capacity in people like Europeans that have never done a lot of volume or intense training is very limited. But if you're a Thai kid and you've been starting at 6 years old and you've done that all your life, your working capacity is way higher. So you train 6 hours per day, and then you go to sleep, and the next day you're recovered. It's magical. It's not magical, but you've been doing it all your life, so that's why. But if you start doing that when you're 28, 29, or whatever age, it takes way longer, and I don't think, you can really adapt to that level of stress and intensity and inflammation and all this. So up to now, like in my experience, I was not able to do it, but maybe we are all different, okay? And we all have different genetic backgrounds and all different motivation and all this, but it didn't work for me. So yeah, on the performance level, I think Thai boxing is very interesting. I think it's the best striking martial art, in my opinion. And it gives a lot of comprehension of the body weight shifting, the weight shifting on your legs, and the weight shifting with upper body wrestling, like we call it clinching, when we take the neck and you can put elbows and knees and stuff. So I think it's very interesting, but it's only external. So something was missing about the internal part, about it's only physical, and maybe for some people there is spiritual practice in it. They respect the ancestors and stuff like this, but it's not very an important aspect of it, I think. So yeah, Muay Thai was only external. It gave me the ability to defend myself, to do some nice kicks and stuff. But something was missing, I think. So that's why I went to yoga, to learn yoga, which gave me the balance. So from the external, now suddenly I was in the internal world. So during that time, I was missing the external, right? Because yoga was a bit soft, too soft for me, and I needed some balance with external. So I needed to move, to sweat, to to do some dynamic moves, and yeah. So well, you know what we have learned in this time. So yeah, it gave the balance, I think. So from the external, suddenly I was in the internal, and now in China I am in both at the same time. And most of my practices, like they keep evolving, and like I said, it's hard to maintain all the practice you do, or all the practices I have been learning in my life. I have so limited time, and you cannot do everything in one day, and you also have to recover and etc. But yeah, regarding the recovery aspect, also here, I thought maybe being more balanced and having more yin and yang and all this could help me as well. But still, I also think here in the Chinese way of training, we are adults here, and if you want to be very effective, you have to be a child to start to do that. Especially all the amount of passive stretching we do. I don't think passive stretching is very relevant for people that are already adults. I don't think it's the most efficient way of increasing your flexibility and strength and mobility. So yeah. You have some questions about that, maybe?
Yeah, I was curious how many hours or what your day looks like, but the stretching is one of the things I wanted to talk about.
Yes.
So you're saying the passive stretching isn't useful for you? What would be the types of stretching that you do like or do practice?
Yeah. So here we train 6 to 7 something hours a day, depends on the schedule. Sometimes it's changing a bit, between 6 and 8 hours per day. And we have Saturday and Sunday off normally. The stretching we do here is mainly passive stretching. So when I say passive stretching, it means someone is stretching you, or you are stretching on the floor and you don't use your body weight. You just use maybe gravity, but you're not active. You're not contracting your muscles while you stretch, right? So let's say, for example, I am lying on I'm my back on the wall, and someone is raising my leg in front of me. So I do a front hip opening stretch with both of my legs straight, and I just try to raise my leg as high as possible, but I am not the one who's doing it, so I'm not contracting my muscles. So this movement cannot be used, this range of motion, which is passive, cannot be used in a movement because I'm not controlling it. Someone else is putting it on me, right? And this way of stretching, I don't stretch that at all in my life, well, in my normal practice, but I have a lot more mobility than most of the people here. So what I do is I do mobility work. What is mobility? Mobility is the combination, as you know, of strength and flexibility in all the range of motion. So like you have an active range of motion and you have a passive range of motion, right? So if I raise your leg, I raise your leg up and you go as high as you can, this is your passive range of motion. Yeah. Then if I ask you to lift your leg yourself, then you're probably going to go lower, and this is your active range of motion. Now, what's interesting is the gap between the two. Is the gap between the two very big or small? If this gap is small, passive stretching might be interesting for you. But if this gap is very big, now you have to do mobility work to at least close the gap. And then after, maybe you can increase again. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
So it reminds me of resistance stretching, where someone is pushing you to lift your leg up higher, but you are actually working against it. So you're inhibiting them pushing you there. Is that what you say mobility work is?
I think this is a more efficient way than passive stretching. So this has a name. I don't remember the name. The
resistance stretching. Let's call it resistance stretching.
Okay, so this is still stretching in my opinion. So it's maybe a bit better than passive stretching, but still is not very efficient in my opinion, because again, someone else is pushing you, and like at some point you're not making the move yourself and you're not able to recruit that in a movement. But you're triggering the myotatic reflexes and stuff like this. So like, I don't remember the names, also technical names and scientific names, but you know that, and you'll be able to put it on words properly. But what I think is most interesting is what we call nowadays mobility. Mobility work is, for example, what am I doing? I'm going to do a middle split. If you do a middle split, right, you can put your hands on the floor, and this is passive stretching because most of your weight will be on your hands, and then you're just letting gravity make its work, and probably you can stay like that for years and not improve. But then the magic happens when you just remove your hands from the floor and you stay on your legs and you do an isometric middle split hold. So your hips, so your trunk stay above your hips and you're splitting your legs and you just resist here. And
so you're resisting gravity there.
Yes, you're resisting gravity, but it's also your body weight on you, right? And so this is active stretching. It's not even mobility, but it's an example of active stretching.
So are you using muscles that you're stretching, or are you using the opposite muscles?
So you're strengthening the muscle that is stretched at the end range of the current motion that you have.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So this is what's important, is to get your muscle strong, not in the normal motion that you go every day, but in the end range of motion that you have, so that your nervous system becomes more confident.
Interesting.
And is saying like, okay, why do you want me to go in this position? I never go in this position. I'm going to injure myself. So I cannot let you open here. So I will tense you and I will prevent you from going there. Right. But if you gradually show to your body that you're able to go there, and you strengthen your muscles on the lengthening position, not on the contracting position, but on the lengthening position, then you're going to be more confident. When I say you, I mean your nervous system. So it's not something you can do consciously, but well, maybe you can do it consciously, but at least it's unconscious at the beginning. So yeah, if you strengthen your muscles at the end range of motion that you currently have, then this is how I think it's the most efficient way of increasing your mobility, because you're increasing your strength and your flexibility at the end range of motion, and you do it yourself, so you can use it in a movement, and also no one is pushing you, and also it's less painful. So there's no pain, in my opinion. There's no more pain than if you do whatever bench press. Okay, it's just a normal it's a musculation of the joint. It's musculation of the surrounding movement of surrounding muscles of a joint. If you want to, so it's also both adductors and abductors are very useful if you want to open your hips on the middle split. So, for example, another movement is Mabu. Mabu in Chinese martial arts, it's the horse stance. This movement is in all martial arts. It's like I think it's what, a goddess
Yes.
pose or something like it in yoga, right? But we do it with the feet parallel, not the feet outside, but different. There's different positions. But this is very, very interesting because it's strengthening at the same time. It's an isometric movement. Remember when I said at the beginning of our conversation that I believe isometric movements are the most efficient way to increase your mobility. So Mabu is one of them. You're both strengthening and you're both strengthening your adductors and your abductors, and you can consciously push your knees out even more. So there's a lot of control on your body. You don't need someone else to push you, and it's really interesting. So what I would recommend.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you can.
Just a little fact, like the science does also say that isometric contraction are the most strengthening form for your muscle growth, whereas a concentric or an eccentric don't actually grow your muscles as well as an isometric does.
Yes.
So it makes sense why you would experience that. So just wanted to add that in.
Yes. And so that's why it's also my approach today. I'm developing an online academy to teach people how to combine mobility and martial arts so that they can benefit. Because today, if you want to get all the benefits of internal martial arts, for example, if you want to nourish your internal organs, if you want to take care of your meridians, if you want to balance your chi and all this, you need to be able to do some stances that require you to be open at your hips and your shoulders. And most of the people are not. And if you want to open yourself more efficiently, then you need to use mobility combined with this kind of martial arts training so that your body opens up faster and you have some kind of virtuous circle going on. So you do mobility, which support your martial art training, which support your mobility and support. It's like a virtuous circle. So this is what I'm trying to explain to people nowadays, and everyone that's coming here, they do the passive stretches and they do all this, and they see it's probably not working for some of them. So I'm explaining them, okay, mobility is different. Do more active stretching. Try to hold your leg yourself. Try to do like this. Try to do like that. Try to reinforce your muscle at the lengthening part, on the lengthening part of it. Try to go to your end range of motion and stay there, and do like a 30-second hold or whatever, and do it again. And so this is, I think, what is the most efficient today in my experience, and for other people as well that I have seen. And too much passive stretching is actually reducing our range of motion, because we do way too much here. We do like 30 minutes per day of passive stretching combined. And when I arrived, I was more mobile than I am now. I cannot go down on my legs anymore, but it's normal. Like, it's part of the Kung Fu training, but it's so intense and so high volume that we are losing for some time our ability to use our muscles the way we could use them before. But maybe if you're just a complete beginner and you arrive, and for sure there is no big difference between your active range of motion and your passive range of motion, maybe passive stretching is interesting. Okay, but for someone like me who can open his leg almost to 180 degrees when I'm standing with a passive stretching, if you take my leg, you can put it to my head, right? Almost. But if I do it myself, maybe I can go up to my shoulder, or I can go like maybe 60 or 70% of this range by myself. So the other 30%, I need to close this gap. So I don't need to do passive stretching, if you get what I mean, right? There's no point in me going like almost over split, like more than 180 degrees, and still not able to do it myself. And I wait, and my leg is stuck at 60% of this range. So what I need to work on is my active mobility, my active stretching, so that I can close this gap before wanting to open it even more.
So let's dive into the difference between active and that activation at the end range of motion, because it seems like you don't just want to throw more muscle mass in there. You want to have a very specific mental control at that final level. I'm curious what that has to do with the alignment of the meridians and the nadis, and what that mental control is, that internal work that makes you able to figure out how to put that extra activation in.
So I don't see like I've never asked myself the relationship between in this particular movement, the balance between internal and external. What I know is, as I said before, if you want your chi on your life energy to move well and support your movement, you need to be fully opened. So this is what I know about that. But then on the exercise level, you can just see it as a physical exercise, or I see it as a physical exercise. But for sure, there is awareness to be put. So like when you do these movements, first of all, if you're working on your hip, let's say, there is some mobility, some special, very technical, specific mobility exercise that are called, I don't know if you heard of CARs, like controlled articular rotations. For example, you do, so this is what I teach also. Like you can do shoulder CARs, you can do hip CARs, you can do many things. And then when you do that, for example, you do hip CARs with your left hip. So you will do flexion of the hip.
You've taught me that. Yes, I remember that.
So then you will go and open, so you go in abduction of the hip, then you do external rotation of the hip, then you go back into extension of the hip, etc. When you do that, you have to be fully aware that you're moving only your hip and you're not compensating with other part of your other joints, like you're not hinging at the hips, you're not going forward, you're not going back, you're not rotating your torso, so that you have the impression that you create more range of motion, which actually is not, because it's not your hip moving, it's the other parts of your body. So you need to be very aware when you do that, and also to see that, like to have the intention to go beyond, even if it's not perceptible, if you can't see it yourself. If someone is looking at me and he's saying, okay, you're not moving, but in my head, I want to move beyond where I can move now. And this intention is here. So I keep contracting as much as I can. And I keep like trying to go beyond with my movement, even if it's not moving, even if you can't see, even if I can't lift my knee off the ground, but I'm actively trying to. So this is not perceptible from outside, right? So this is where the inner work is, in my opinion, is to be aware of your body and then the intention as well. So you're telling your chi, okay, I want to go more than this. And so you're reinforcing your connection between your brain and your muscles and your nervous system and all this, from the scientific part, I suppose. But yeah, it's also then purely physical if you want to just look at the external point of view. But yeah, both are interesting.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, and I'll definitely focus more on going beyond with my mind, even though my body cannot get there yet. That's good advice.
Yes. And also visualization is something very interesting. So this is on another level. I'm not talking about mobility right now or something. I'm just doing a quick change of subject, but it's the same. When we do forms here, so I said we learn stances, but we also learn forms, so combination of movement. it happens very often to me. Then when I go to my bed and I close my eyes, I see myself doing the forms and again, and I do them in my head. And this also reinforce the patterns that you have, the movement patterns that you have in your brain, and you're actually developing your ability to do this really like in the physical way by visualizing what you've done in the day or whatever. So your body knows, like it's not on the brain level, like it happens in your brain, you visualize and stuff, but it's actually your body learning and remembers. Like the body also has a memory and remembers the movement that you learn. It's not so that at some point you don't need to think through those movements. You just do them, and your brain doesn't need to think. You're in
It's automatic.
Yeah, it's automatic. You're in the flow state or whatever. You don't need to think this and that, because at some point the form is going so quick that you cannot think through anyway. So like it's just your body knows what it's doing. Yeah, this was just a little bit of side subject, but
I'm curious. Do you have a meditation practice or a pranayama practice, for example?
So what's interesting as well, if you want to do the parallel between yoga and Chinese, is like what's really interesting is pranayama is like, life energy expansion, right? Or we could say maybe life energy work or breath work. So many different interpretations. But then we do Qigong. What is Qigong? Qi is the same as prana, so it's life energy. And Gong, what does it mean? It means work.
Okay.
It's the same thing, exactly the same name, right? But Qigong is dynamic, in movement, breath work. And so we do that, right? But it's just movement that have a certain pattern of breathing. So you breathe always in your lower dantian, and you have to do inhale at some part of the movement and exhale at some other parts of the movement.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the meditation, what's interesting as well is here, according to Chinese medicine and according to Chinese martial arts and according to my master, if you want to do meditation, you have to be in a meditative state first, and then you can sit for your meditation. You cannot by any time hope that you're very disturbed in your mind or whatever, and you're going to sit in meditation, and this is going to help you to achieve a meditative state. So according to him, this is the biggest mistake we have in the Western world when we took meditation, and we hope that meditation is going to relax, help us relax and relieve our stress and anxiety. Actually, if you're a stressed person and you're anxious, you're going to sit in meditation and close your eyes. You cannot keep your eyes closed, and you're going to be very in discomfort, and it actually can make things worse. So what we talk about this is that it's an excess of yin energy. If you have too much emotions, too much thoughts, like the monkey mind, as they say in the Buddhist religion or in India, if you are too much disturbed with your thoughts or emotions and you're always thinking, it is an excess of yin energy. So to balance an excess of yin energy, what do you have to do? You have to do yang practices. So you have to sweat it out. You have to move. You have to work hard. You have to train hard and do kung fu, whatever other things. You can do whatever, I don't know, CrossFit, go running, go climb a mountain, go something that is external. Then you're going to get rid of the excess of yin energy like that. And maybe later when you're tired, you can sit and try to relax or try to meditate. But so meditation is exactly like it's supposed to be in yoga. It's the 8th limb, right? So you have to achieve everything first. You have to have control over yourself, control over your impulses. You have to have your practices like your asana. All of this in Chinese aspect approach of martial arts or in the Shaolin temple will be the same. You're not supposed to meditate if you're not able to be in a meditative state, kind of. So you can get the benefits of meditation once you're able to meditate. It's not like you try to meditate so that you can get the benefits. It's not going to work according to this approach.
I find some affinity with that. If I teach my students meditation, I just have them do some breath work first and then get them into it slowly that way. So that's good advice as well, I think.
Yes.
One thing you said is the lower, you breathe into the lower Dantian.
Yes.
Why specifically there? Because that's also what I do in yoga. So I'm curious, what's the purpose of that?
Yeah, so they call it the home of your chi. So your breath has to initiate from there and go back there. So you just it's just stomach breathing, like full breath, not torso breathing, like not from your, because as we know in yoga, also the lungs are like a triangle. So the biggest part of your lung are in the lower part, the biggest capacity of your lungs. So you need to breathe from your stomach. And this is every time we breathe in Kung Fu, we're supposed to be breathing from here. So expansion of your stomach and retraction. Also, when you want to project your chi in a movement, like an explosive movement or something, we also breathe. But it's a breathe. It's like, yeah, it's a hard thing to do because you're breathing in and out, but at the same time you're throwing your abdominal muscles to expand while you're breathing in and out. So it's a bit weird to explain. It's also hard to do. When we do, for example, some stances, we do an alternance of he and ha, like we do he, ha, and when we do he, we are breathing in the lower dantian and closing like this, for example, and then I turn and I do ha and I punch, right? And so the ha I release, yeah, so it's always happening from there because it's the home of the chi, according to them.
Okay, so the way I know the bandhas is your lower bandha, your mula bandha, and then your second bandha, Uddiyana bandha. They kind of from below and from the belly button, they both go in. So
yes,
on your breath in, do you expand them outwards, and on your breath out, do you kind of pull them inwards? Is that similar to the Dantian feeling?
No, because when we breathe out, we also kind of expand the abdominal part. So it's like you put it under pressure, like you compress it, like you enter your breath enters your lower dantian and you compress it, and when you're going to release it, you also do some kind of compression, and it's a fast expansion and retraction. It's weird. It's not really comparable, I think, to yoga on this point, because when you do breath work or bandhas in yoga, you don't move. We do that in movement. We do that to create movement in ourselves. And also, I think at some point, there is differences in the way that Kung Fu sees energy as something that needs to be balanced. And you need to get rid of the excess of yin or yang. And there's no, in my current understanding, you don't want to store energy unlimitedly so that it spills out of your crown chakra, like yogi do. Like yogi, they just want to preserve and build in so that it explodes from the higher chakras. In Kung Fu, there's nothing of that. You want balance. You don't want a big energy. Like you don't want okay, sure, you want a lot of energy because it's helping you in your practice and all of this, but you don't want to build it up so that it explodes from somewhere. Or I don't see that aspect in Kung Fu. I don't know if that makes sense, because we talked about the similarities, but I think there's also some differences that are noticeable, and this is one of them. So the energy building is not something that we do. It's more energy balancing. So they think if you're balanced, you can meditate and stuff like that. Not because you build up and stack up energy.
Okay. That is indeed my understanding of yoga, is that with that excess of energy, we're able to reach those high vibration levels where we can get that enlightened state in. But you're saying
Yes.
the Kung Fu it's the balance itself that, and the meditation brings you there somehow.
Yes, we don't want excess. Excess of energy of any form is not good, because excess is not balance. So this is not what they want. Yeah.
Is this
in
balance?
My understanding.
Yeah, it's obviously quite a esoteric topic, right?
Yes.
Is that, and the balance is what you cultivate if you do this internal work? Does that make sense?
So the balance, the balance will be reached if you do both yin and yang practices. So internal work like yoga, and then external work like external martial arts, like maybe boxing, or like all kind of movement that involve your endurance, your cardiovascular system, your muscles, right? Your physical body in movement, intense movement, cardio training, heat training, whatever. This will be the yang practice. So basically, from my understanding as well, if you do yang practice, you're going to raise your yang energy and consume the yin. Consume the yin, yeah. So like, and when you do the yin practice, you're going to increase your yin and consume the yang. That's why, because it's working as a balance. So if you were not consuming the opposite energy while you're doing it, you will just add up. There's no adding up like this all the time. So, and even so, where this becomes really interesting is, my master told me once that if you're a master in this kind of training, then your excess turns into the other one. Now, this is what maybe yoga do, okay? Maybe yogic people are the real yogis are so far in the understanding of this, that they do only yin energy. When they practice internally, they create yin energy, but the excess of yin turns into yang. But if you're not an expert, you can't do that. So you have to balance with yin and yang. Yeah.
So for most people, the yang is more obvious what that is. I'm curious for the yin to you. When you talk about we have a yang and a yin kidney, or some organs are yang and yin, or how much of that do you believe? How much of that do you, is it real? Is it?
Yeah. So until like, I don't know how to answer that. From the beginning of our conversation, I always said, okay, from the Chinese medicine point of view, from the yogic point of view, I didn't talk about my point of view. So now you want to talk about my point of view, or my belief in that. I don't believe in anything. I just try to experience what's happening. And so from the yin aspect, so you said people have maybe a clear understanding of what is yang. Okay, so what is yin? We experience this every day. So like when you train hard, then what happens? You want to rest, and rest is yin energy. So rest is a yin practice. If you sleep, it's a yin practice. If you close your eyes, if you sit somewhere and you just relax, it's a yin practice. So why are we doing more yin practice here? Because you could tell me, okay, maybe you can just do external practice like Yang. You can do boxing and then you rest and then you will be balanced. And so, because if you rest enough, you will have your Yin going back up, and until you go the next day for the Yang. And the reason why we do Yin practices is that it's supposed to help you recover faster, so that you can go even more for the Yang practice. So the Yin practice are supposed to help you recover and heal faster, so that you can go faster again into the Yang, so that you can progress faster and increase your level of Kung Fu. Ultimately, the Kung Fu here also is a performance kind of. You also have some kind of notions of performance in that you want to develop your explosiveness. You want to do all of this. This doesn't have an equivalent in yoga, because yoga is nothing of that. There's no demonstration of your skills or whatever. You're doing yoga for yourself. In martial arts, there's also an aspect of performance that if you want to reach that higher level, you need to be able to train more than others. So that's why you balance your training with Yin, so that you can recover faster. So this is one thing. And this is definitely supported also by science, in my opinion. If you look at the best ways of recovery, it's not by lying in your bed and watching Netflix, right? You need to stay in movement and have some blood flow in your muscles and stuff, so that you can get nutrients and you can recover faster. So Yin practices are soft movements that help you bring some blood flow. If you just look at the physical aspect of it, and I'm not talking about Qi and stuff, but yeah, so it's also supported in a way by science if you just look at the physical level. So now the question was, do I believe or do I experience this and that? I think all of these concepts are just concepts and words, and actually maybe sometimes we are not aware that we actually all experience this on certain level, and it's something that happens every day. And for example, last year I broke a brick with my hands, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
What's
so
that
this,
like?
Yeah, so this is just about the external and the internal combined. Okay, so like, but everyone does that at a certain point. If you're a movement enthusiast and you train, then you instinctively or with intuition or whatever you want, which one you want, from the lower or the higher chakras, you know how to combine your energy inside with your external movement. If you want to do a fast punch, you know you're not going just to move your arm without intention and without breathing. So you're going to do a fast punch. You're going to link your internal movement and your external movement. It's something we do. Everyone does that. It's not because suddenly you get explained that it works like this that you're going to be better at it. So I don't know if you get what I mean, but these concepts are just, we just experience them every day in our lives, but we don't know it's that, right? And so when you break a brick, you just need to condition your hand so that it gets strong, so that you're not afraid of breaking it. And then you just throw it very fast, very quickly on the brick, and the brick is going to break. Like you will take a hammer and do it. It's the same. Your hand is the hammer. If you want to break some wood and you take an axe, for sure you're going to use your internal energy to get some speed in your movement, so that you can actually break the wood with the axe, right? So this is you're doing kung fu when you're doing that. Like, kung fu is part of life, as my master always say. So I don't think, yeah.
Is that a rooting into the ground if you use an internal energy, or are you using the earth's energy to chop it? Or
so this rooting, I didn't I didn't pay attention enough into this part of practices like rooting in the ground and stuff. I think it's happening naturally, like I said, with the chi moving in your body. So what I wanted to say is that, yeah, like you're asking me if I believe or not believe. Well, I think it's not the proper question to ask. The proper question will be to ask, can I get more conscious of what's happening in my body every day? Because those principles happens, and they are happening. We are just not putting words on it, or we are just not aware that this is that. And like your chi, everyone has chi. It's not because you're not training kung fu that you don't have the chi, and you're not using it every day to like in your life. But then for the Chinese principles, like Chinese medicine, you have yin and yang organ and all this. This I didn't go too much, like enough in deeper understanding of that so that I can answer you. But there is some evidence that everything is working. Like we have some people here, they do acupuncture, but not the way you've seen it. I don't think you want to see the way they do acupuncture here, because they have like 1 meter needle and like needles like this, and like first needle to make a hole, and then second needle to go like a worm that will invade you and go beyond all your whatever. And there's someone here that she had a knee pain for many years and she couldn't bend her leg, and this guy came here and he's like whatever disciple of heritage of the 12 ghosts of the gates, whatever, something in Chinese. He put some needles in her knee. She's healed.
Wow. I would see that, honestly.
So yeah. So for sure, I think the Chinese medicine principles are working, and people experience it day to day. They get some people here, they had stomach pain for all their lives. They thought having stomach ache was normal when you eat, like to the point it was just in everyday life for them. And they were told that, okay, I want to increase my back flexibility, my back bend flexibility. Okay, so she went to the Chinese medicine doctor, and he said, oh, but you will never be able to increase your back bend flexibility if you don't relax your abdominal muscles. And your abdominal muscles are tense because your stomach has a problem. So I'm going to give you some herbs. And then she's healed. She is not having any more pain in her stomach for many months now. And like there's a lot of stories like that. Like you have pain in your elbow, they will take whatever, put needles in your toes because it's your meridian, right? It's connected. And so you have pain somewhere. What I like about the Chinese medicine approach is opposite to what we do in the West. Chinese medicine says, okay, you have to maintain your body in good health. And the West is like, oh, you have to get back to health when you're ill. No, it's too late. And the West is like, okay, your body is a machine. I'm going, oh, you have a problem at your knee. Okay, it's your knee. No. When you have a problem at your knee, maybe it's your hip, maybe it's your ankle, maybe it's your meridian that is blocked. And so Chinese are going to the root of the problem, not to the problem itself. Like Western medicine is not at all the same, doesn't have the same approach. I'm not saying it's not good, I'm not saying whatever, but we are all our own doctors here, and we are our own healers. And if you do the work every day to maintain your health, if you keep your chi flowing in your body and you prevent blockages to happen in your meridians by doing practices, by training every day, by doing some qigong, doing some internal work, doing some external work, paying attention to what you eat, the way you breathe, the way you interact with the world, and all this holistic approach, then there's no reason you will have a problem. Because in Chinese medicine, every disease is coming from a blockage of your qi. So if you pay attention to this, and also they say like a blockage of qi happens without pain, but to unblock it, it's painful.
Interesting.
Yes. So, for example, there's your lymphatic system doesn't have a pump, right? Like your blood circulatory system has a pump, right? It's your heart, but your heart is very good at sending blood to your organs, but not very good at regaining the blood from the organs to the heart. So they say like the calf muscles are the second heart for the veins to bring back the blood. Well, this is one thing. Then the lymphatic system, there is no pump in this lymphatic system, which is in charge of eliminating waste of the body and stuff. And this lymphatic system has some nodes, from my understanding, in certain areas of the body. And magically, these are the areas where we do tapping qigong when we do qigong. So
Really?
the qi and the lymphatic system are also linked. So, for example, here, or in your elbow eye, in your knee eye, in certain points, we tap. But if you make the experiment with some people who don't really do movement, and if you tap like this on their elbow eye, they will scream, and it will become purple. It will be full of stains of blood, whatever doing. But if you do that on mine, nothing happens because I don't have blockages. Right? So yeah, this is also an approach, and you can see that manifestation of that in. So yeah, I'm just giving you some proof or experience of life that I have experienced, so that it supports all these principles. Yeah, because this was the original question, but I go a bit everywhere to answer.
Perfect.
But, yeah.
That's perfect. So the blockages, are those emotions? Are that events, stress, health issues? There's no pain in the blockage, but what is a blockage?
Well, the blockage, the chi blockage is, from my understanding, is like your chi is supposed to flow freely in your meridians, like your blood is flowing in your veins. And when whatever happens, you have a lack. You have imbalance in your meridians, maybe because some emotional state. Like there is 5 emotions associated with 5 organs. I think, for example, the fear is affecting the kidneys. The sadness is affecting the heart. The fear, no, sorry, the anger is affecting the liver. So if you experience those kinds of emotions for too long or whatever, you block your meridians. This is just a way of it to happen. Then maybe if you put bad stuff in your system with eating junk food or whatever, it's blocking other parts of it. And then so day by day, if you don't do some maintenance by doing practices, like internal practices and external practices, your chi becomes to rot, and it's not good. It's like water that's supposed to flow, but suddenly it stagnates, so it turns into poison, and then things happen. Yeah.
Interesting. This is like we've been physical, now we're going to this like subtle level of chi. There's this like chakra level, prana level, maybe, where, for example, when you rub your hands together and you feel that space in between, that's something very common in the Chinese practices as well, right? Have you experienced
Yes.
that? What is happening? What's that?
Well, in my understanding, your hands are a way to communicate your chi to people as well, and to receive chi from earth. So like there's a point here, like it's I don't know, I don't remember on which meridian. So, but it's like the crown chakra. So it has an equivalent. It's an acupuncture point on one of the meridian, that they say you receive energy from the sky, from 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 the sky. And then you have a point on your feet, around the middle of your feet, on the floor, on the part which is in contact of the floor, and you receive energy from the earth. And so we do some kind of meditation practices, standing practices that they call the tree meditation, where you are supposed to receive energy at those 2 points at the same time. So from the sky and from the earth, and you are the middle, like you are the link between that, and your arms are round, like you're supporting a tree or something. Yeah, like this, but 2 arms.
Yes.
So around this. Yes. And relax. So your shoulders are relaxed, your elbows are relaxed, and this also is it's like a battery you're charging, kind of, in the understanding. And we also then breathe in, open, and breathe out, and retract. And so this space between our hands, charged with chi, you can use it to heal people and stuff. But this I have not experienced to that point. I have already felt some chi in my body, for sure, when you don't move for a certain time and you have some flowing inside you. So I have experience, but not to the extent where you can pass it to other people. And well, I have also tried this. It's interesting. Like people can feel the warmth and it going through their body and stuff. Yeah, but this is not an area where I have been very proficient, so I don't know if I can really specify those kind of things.
It is that area that we're trying to understanding it is almost the wrong approach sometimes, and
Yes.
it's hard to feel. It takes practice, and it seems to be a yin type of practice. It's a very internal one, or is it the wrong classification of that?
Yeah, it's a yin practice, in my understanding as well. Yeah. But I don't think it needs classification sometimes. Also, it's only to explain to people all those kind of things. But as you said, there's no need sometimes to explain. And as I said in the beginning, it's something you need to feel for yourself and practice. So I suggest, if you want a deeper understanding of that, you can just join us here, and you'll see for yourself.
I'm actually very curious to join it. Would you suggest is it a monthly training or something you visit?
So you can come for any duration of time, but I think at least 1 month will be necessary to start understanding some stuff. I think 3 months is would be enough to really take something with you when you go back. But some people come here for 1 week. They're just some tourists, and they don't even stand for the 1 week. Some people, they want to come here for 1 year, and they arrive and they leave 1 month after because it's too hard. So like it depends, but I would suggest at least 1 month, and if you can 3 months, would be nice to understand, especially for the chi. If you want to understand chi and feel it, not understand but feel it and experience it, I think 3 months is not too much.
Okay. So where are you going? Are you gonna stay there, or what's your plan?
Oh, I leave I leave at the end of May. So because this time I'm done, and I don't think I'm curious about other movements also. So like, I have other movement practices I want to put in place, like floor work and hand balancing and general body mobility and all this. And I cannot really my goals that I have for now are not around Kung Fu anymore, so I cannot really do that here. And yeah, so I will go at the end of this month.
Where are you going? Where's your flight? Or
I go to Thailand again.
okay.
Yeah.
So more Muay Thai or your own kind of?
No. I just go to Thailand because when I don't know where to go, I go to Thailand. But it's nothing to do with what I'm going to do. I can do that anywhere. It's online, a mentorship with someone, and but there's a physical retreat in Thailand happening at the end of July.
All right. I feel like this might be a good point to end and maybe talk again later once I've processed all of this.
Yes.
So where can
Okay.
people find you if I would post this on a YouTube or something, if you're okay with that?
Yeah. So I have a website. I'm on Instagram and YouTube. So my name is Move with Julien. So Julien is not Julien like with a A, but Julien. So Move with Julien. And my website is the same. So movewithjulien.com. On YouTube, it's the same. Instagram is the same. So yeah, and if you want to come and train here, it's shaolintemple.com, and you can find the information.
That's great. That's great. You have any questions for me left, or?
Well, no. So you're continuing your studies in that and your research. When are you supposed to conclude with all of this? Like, when are you giving it back, this work?
So I'm 2 years in my PhD, and
Yeah, okay. 1
2
more.
years.
So
Yeah, and then I'm never gonna be done with practices like these. So after those 2 years, it's a perfect time to explore the East again. Yeah, I'm very excited about that. And so as you know, science is very physical, but I'm trying to get these Qi and Chinese medicine stuff. I'm trying to give it some credence, let's say. So that you've been a help in getting that started for sure.
Yeah, I remember that you had some hard time. Like, you were very curious, but you always wanted to understand how. But I told you, I remember I told you, the how is what you do already is a science. I mean, now in the spiritual, it's about the why. It's not about the how. And in my opinion, this is where it's a bit misleading sometimes, because you want to, we want, or I wanted also to get a scientific approach from a spiritual approach. And a spiritual practice cannot be approached the same way as a scientific approach, in my opinion. And both are complementary and useful and relate to each other, and they have some common things, and it's great. But I think the role of science is to say how, and the role of spirituality is to say why. And this is, I think, where everything connects.
I couldn't agree more. That's perfect. Spirituality is why, science is how. All right. I think that's a wrap up then. Yeah. Thank you so much, Julien.
Thank you. And see you next time then.